If you're interested in learning about partial chords, inner voice chord movement, and just generally getting a really interesting sound in your chord melody solos, stick around because this is where it all starts. Hi, I'm Mike Hayes and welcome to Jazz Guitar Chord Melody, Part 69. The focus of this session will be creating melodic lines. This lesson is a continuation of some of the concepts that we presented earlier in the series. I'll put a link in the description box below if you want to check out that earlier video on this topic. All the examples will be in the key of C, and we'll be using the C major 6th diminished scale throughout the lesson to construct our melodic lines and harmonies. As you know, when the C major 6th diminished scale is harmonized, only two types of chords are produced: the C major 6th chord and the B diminished 7th chord. Various inversions of these two chords are produced, however there are only two chords. The concept of borrowing a note from a neighbouring chord creates a whole range of harmonic possibilities. For our first example, we'll be playing through the C6 diminished scale, and we'll be also creating additional chords by borrowing a note from the next chord in the series. So we'll start with our C6 chord, and the diagram that you'll see in front of you at the moment consists of 3 clear dots and 1 purple dot. The clear dots represent the notes that are going to remain the same. The purple dot, in this case it's the note A, is going to move to the next scale note in the C major 6th diminished scale, which would be the note B. It's also a borrowed note from the next chord, which would be a B diminished chord. When we change the note from A to B, the chord quality changes from C major 6th to C major 7th. And this is the concept that we'll be using throughout this first exercise. First we'll play the chord that is naturally produced by harmonizing the C major 6th diminished scale, and then we'll borrow a note from the next chord to create a new harmony. Okay, when you're ready, let's try it. And now we'll develop that idea a little bit further. You'll hear that in each instance, the new chord that we've created by using the borrowed note from the next chord creates a little bit extra harmonic tension. So what we're going to do is begin on this new chord, and I'll use this first bar as an example. I'm going to begin with the C major 7th. That's the chord that has that additional harmonic tension. And then we'll play a series of 4 ascending scale notes. In this first bar, the notes will be A, B, C, D. They're just the notes in the C major 6th diminished scale, beginning on A. Next I'll play the C major 7th chord, and then I'll resolve that C major 7th chord to the C6th chord. So the idea is we're starting with our chord that has extra tension, playing a series of 4 ascending scale notes, playing the chord with extra tension once more, and then resolving it to the original chord, which in this instance is C6th. And I'm following this exact same pattern throughout the entire scale. You might just want to watch this section of the video first before you play along. There's a lot of new and interesting sounds coming up. Here we go. Before we go any further, I'd like to give you an example of one of the ways that we could be using this type of playing. As we said, the C major 6th diminished scale produces two chords. The C major 6th chord, which I'm thinking of as chord 1. The B diminished 7th chord I think of as being chord 5. Remember earlier in the series we discussed the idea that a B diminished 7th could be thought of as a G7 flat 9 chord. And consequently that's why I'm thinking of the B diminished chord as chord 5. So for example, if I wanted to play a little interlude or an ending that went from chord 1 to chord 5 and then resolved to chord 1, any of the B diminished chords with their new harmonies that we've created from borrowing a note from the C 6th chord, I could use any of these harmonies as a G7th. So here's a little 2-bar example that's moving from chord 1, the C major 7th, to a diminished type chord or a diminished chord with some borrowed notes, and then resolving to chord 1. Let's just have a listen. Okay, next up we're going to harmonise our C major 6th scale. The top note is our melody note. It's marked in purple, and our harmony note is indicated by the red dot. Now an interesting thing happens when you start harmonising the major 6th diminished scale. Not always do we have an interval of a third. So take your time and study what happens when you harmonise the scale. This is definitely one of those instances where 5 minutes thought is better than 5 hours haphazard practice. Okay, when you're ready, let's try our new harmonies. And now this is the same exercise, only notice this time I've indicated various chord qualities above each set of harmonies. And this is particularly important when we get into the subject of partial chords, and we'll be covering that in future sessions. But even just for this session, when we have two notes, it's enough to imply a certain harmony. So here's the same exercise, but we're thinking about them in terms of what chords we could be implying when we're playing a particular harmony. Right then, time to put all this together. We're going to go back to the idea of playing the chord with harmonic tension, then a series of 4 scale notes, only this time we're going to have a harmonised version of those 4 ascending scale notes, then play our chord with harmonic tension, and finally resolving to the chord that would naturally occur in the C major 6th scale. So once again, I'll just walk you through the first bar. I'm playing C major 7th, that's the chord with the borrowed note. Then we're playing a harmonised version of the C major 6th scale, and in this particular bar we're starting on the note A, B, C, D, that's the top note. Next we're playing the C major 7th chord again, and then finally resolving it to C major 6th, which was the original chord that we would have started on when we played the C major 6th scale. For this next example, I'm going to play it freely, which means I won't be playing it in strict time. I'm going to try and put some expression into it, some dynamics, just to give you some ideas of how you might want to play these exercises. We want to turn these exercises into music. Okay, here I go, and hopefully you'll hear some new sounds that you can use in your own music. Well, that's it for today, folks. I do hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope there's something there that you can use in your own music projects. We'll be covering more subjects like this in future lessons, so don't forget to subscribe and hit the notifications bell. Also, if you enjoy the type of things that we're doing here, we'd appreciate if you hit the like button. It really helps us out. If you have any questions or comments, pop them in the comment section below this video. And as always, I look forward to catching up with you again next time. Bye for now.